was hard for me, as you know.
It kind of helped with our communication, like as sisters. I feel like we don't have the best communication.
I'm more worried about your wedding than I am about
Really?
Sam's. Yes.
Also, thank God you got engaged first, because I took your list.
Yeah.
Which
And then
amazing.
you crossed out whoever you
Yes.
want.
I was kind of worried because they kind of chose something that you wanted.
We do take that expectation on a little bit.
And we're not going to make a big deal about it, even though the two of you wanted to get married the same year.
How are we supporting each other without stepping on toes? Welcome to Wedding Wednesday, the podcast that's about to spill all the tea on what it's like to plan a wedding from the bride's perspective. I'm creating the podcast I need to keep me sane and feeling less alone as I plan my own wedding. We're diving deep into the hilarious, messy, and sometimes crazy world of wedding planning and wedding horror stories. Get ready to laugh, cry, and maybe feel a little less alone in this wedding planning madness. Hello, hello. Welcome back to Wedding Wednesday. My name is Adriana, and today we have such a special episode. I have here my mom and my sister for what I'm calling a mommy daughters wedding planning edition episode. We have obviously so much to uncover and talk about that we haven't even talked about between the three of us. So we're going to have it live here today. If you're planning your wedding with your mom, send her this episode. I'm sure she will appreciate it. And I'm sure she's also going to be able to relate to a lot of what we're talking about today. With that, let's welcome our special guests, my sister Samantha. Hi,
Hello.
Sam. How are you? And my mom, Carolyn. Hi, Mom. How are you ladies feeling today?
A little nervous.
Yeah, me too.
You're nervous?
I'm a little introverted, but it's okay.
It's okay. This is a really fun conversation just that we get to have as women who are literally related. And if it makes you feel any better, I'm typically not nervous for my episodes, but today I am super nervous. So it's not just you. It's okay. We're going to ease into it. I want to get right into everything with a question for Mom. We didn't even get the chance to really ask you this question because as soon as we both got engaged, we were kind of just like in wedding planning mode right away. But I want to know, Mom, how did you always picture my wedding and Sam's wedding when we were growing up?
Actually, because we come from a very traditional background, it's a very typical thing for a mom to wish that her daughter is going to be present a certain way and have a certain kind of wedding. I never did that. With the two of you, my goals was that you would become independent women, strong women. That was really my goal. I never really pictured a wedding per se. But now that you're both engaged, now I'm starting to give it more thought because I know that as you were growing up, you've developed your own personalities. So you don't have the same wishes, right? You're both planning your weddings, and both weddings are turning out to be very different. So I didn't really have.
I
didn't
never pictured us. Like,
no, I didn't want to project my feelings on you girls. I wanted you to do your own thing. Because looking back on my own wedding, there were things that I would have done differently that I might not have been allowed to do. So I didn't want that for you girls. But then we started looking for pictures, and I know what kind of style the two of you have. So I had a good idea of what kind of wedding dress you wanted to have. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a work in progress. So we discussed it a lot, and I try to be open-minded to what you girls want and try to respect that as much as possible.
Which you are. You really are. As much as you're, personally, I didn't think you would be as excited as you are because, as you said, you never really projected that onto us. But I don't know if you feel this actually. Do you feel like her excitement in the wedding planning process at all?
Maybe because I was like the second person in the family getting engaged, like a bit less. But now that like we're moving closer to the dates of things, I kind of feel it more. But it's good. I'm happy.
Yeah. No, it's great to have your support for sure. How are you picturing our weddings now so now that we're both engaged, how are you picturing? I'm really curious to hear, how are you picturing mine, or like what are you envisioning for the day? Just like overview. And what are you envisioning for Sam's day?
Well, because I know you like to pay more attention to detail and you're more detail oriented, Sam is more low key. So I'm more worried about your wedding than I am about Sam's.
Really?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Okay.
I am.
Shocker.
No, but
hint of sarcasm.
No, but it's like because I'm so detail oriented, I would have assumed that you're not as worried.
I guess because Antoine's family is Lebanese and we come from a similar background. So I know what it's like because I've been through it myself when Dad and I got married. So I know that there were certain expectations, and deciding on who to invite for the wedding. Should you invite parents' friends or not? And which ones if you do? So whereas Sam and Luca, it's like, no, we're not traditional, even though they are from a traditional background as well, and they have certain customs that are the same as ours. But they're more, because his parents are more Canadian like us, then the expectations are not lower, they're just different.
Okay, so I understand. So you're more concerned in that regards, which makes sense. But tell me, like, when you're thinking of our day specifically.
I picture the makeup artist and the hairdresser coming in the morning, and we're looking forward to having the people from Antoine's family come to the house. We're not going to experience that with Sam. Yeah,
the drums, by the way.
Yeah, you did. Okay, it's official.
It's official.
So that's good.
I'm looking forward to seeing that for like the first time.
Right.
Yeah.
I've already experienced it because I have a cousin who did it years ago, and she was the only one. So it was my first time too, and I was like, "What is this?" But yeah, it was something interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And Sam's day. Me too. I have a picture of your day in my head, but I want to hear Mom's picture of your day. If you have one. Maybe it's still forming.
I think it's still forming because your wedding is first.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to probably give it, as we're getting closer to the date, of course, I'm going to give Sam's more thought. But we've been focusing on yours more right now. And now my focus is Sam and Luca's engagement party.
Yeah.
So your thing is kind of put aside.
Yeah.
And now I'm focusing on Sam's engagement party.
For sure.
So once that is over, then we can put the focus back on the other. So, but when you got engaged, okay, yes, it was a big thing because you were the first one. And then several months later, Sam and Luca got engaged, and that was a surprise.
Yeah.
We were expecting it more from you, and we were expecting it from Sam and Luca, but she had given Luca parameters and we weren't there yet. So I figured, okay.
We all were kind of, we weren't there yet.
Yeah, exactly. So it came as a bit of a surprise. So it threw me off. You know, it's like, how do I handle this? And we're not going to make a big deal about it, even though the two of you wanted to get married the same year. But anyways, we managed to, I hope, iron that out, because that would be like, people's reactions was very different. Some people were, oh, wow, that's great. The two of you, the two girls are getting married. And then other people was like, oh my God, I could just.
It's a lot. It's a lot of stress for the parents too. But getting married, I think Sid did the best thing ever. Sid is our best friend. And she kind of like looked at both of us and said, okay, ladies, we're going to plan all of your wedding events for the rest of the year so that like everything goes smoothly and there's like no like snafus. And I thought that was the best thing ever. Actually, I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
That was a really good idea. I think like she's really good being like in the like judging both of us and like.
Yeah, she's so neutral.
Like very like, how do I say this?
And
she's very organized.
So long.
Yeah, she's known us for so long. I think like 20 years maybe. And she just knew how to like map out everything, organize everything.
Yeah.
And like it kind of helped with our communication. Like as sisters, I feel like we don't have the best communication. I feel
sometimes we don't. We speak different languages. As much as I love you.
For sure. I love you too. But I think Sid is a really good like buffer, like in between, like mediator, which is great to have, honestly.
Yeah, it's a huge relief, honestly. When she took that initiative, we were both like, thank God. I don't know if you felt that, but I was like, oh my God, thank God.
A little bit. I was like, oh my God, this is what we needed. Like, why didn't I think of this before?
Yeah.
But like, I'm just not good at these things. Like, she's just really good. Like, she's a teacher, so she's super like organized and like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
see, this is the first I hear of this.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me about this. This is good.
Well, it happened
recently
randomly on one of our Monday night rituals of hanging out.
Yeah, a few weeks ago. See, so many things happen kind of like behind the scenes. I didn't tell you either, but I did tell you. We booked our church this morning.
Yes.
Literally just this morning. But I don't know what you're up to right now with wedding planning, but like I'm what I tackle, then I tell. Like I tackle first and then I'll share. How have you approached with planning that way? Do you prefer to like talk to mom and then decide what you're doing?
I mean, we haven't really gotten to like that level yet. Like we're not doing the whole like church wedding. We're doing the untraditional way. So also like our engagement party is like 2 weeks away. So my focus has been more on that. And then once I'm done with that, maybe like I'll think of like DJ and like hair and like all these other things that we need to book. But so far it's on pause right now.
It's on pause.
I think I've done like a good amount of things.
I think you have
a year and a half away.
Yeah.
From now, so
Yeah, and you've implicated us with the reception hall, which is more than Antoine did.
Yeah, well, I think
we didn't even see yours. That's okay. Not
did
saying
you want to be more involved, like Sam and Luca involved you
more involved. I
in
remember,
the shopping of the venue?
Not necessarily. I mean, I did do some shopping on my own online.
Yeah.
I had sent you a couple of websites just to give you an idea. This is way before we found out that Sam and Luca were getting engaged, because I knew you had a certain vision. So I was trying to help you out that way. But to physically go and shop, I know the city pretty well. As we were coming to the studio yesterday, we were discussing who was going to drive between Sam and me. And it's like, Mom, I could drive. It's like, you don't know the area. Trust me.
Did you drive?
I drove.
You drove?
Yeah. And sure enough, a couple of times it's like, I would not have known how to get here. I would have gone right instead of left.
Yeah.
So it's just, there's things that I've taken in my experience. And because I know the city, we've been to a lot of receptions and things like that with Dad and his work.
Yeah.
So I was trying to guide you to try to help you find the kind of venue that you wanted. The problem is the number of people that you're having at your wedding. So that doesn't really jive. So anyways, you're happy with your venue and it looks like a very nice place. So I think it's a good choice. But with Sam and Luca, I was kind of worried because they kind of chose something that you wanted originally.
What do you mean?
In the sense, it's a house. It's an old house that was built in the 19th century. And you were looking for that kind of...
I was looking for a chateau.
That's it, exactly.
But it's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's not a chateau. It doesn't give the... Yeah,
it's not the vibe
that's right.
I like, personally, for me.
It's so what Sam chose, I can see how you would think that it's what I wanted, but it definitely has a similar vibe to our venue and the other one that we were looking at. But she has the more like old money vibe to her venue, which is gorgeous. We wanted more French Riviera vibe, I guess, if you will, like chateau vibe, as I keep saying. And our venue is not exactly that, but it has the essence of that. Okay. And I'm doing a walkthrough. I'm going to go do a venue walkthrough in a few weeks if you want to come and see it, because I want to see how they like plan out other people's weddings and like where they set up things like the DJ booth and whatnot. So you can come and see it when we do one of those walkthroughs. Okay. But yeah, I did want to buy the water, but our number of guests, like there was that one venue that we really liked. You just know in your gut, that's what it is. The venue shopping process was the same way. So we walked into that venue and Antoine and I looked at each other and we were like, this is the one. Regardless of this, like whatever vision we had, right? So as long as we're both happy, which I think we both are, that's all that matters ultimately.
For sure.
Speaking of venue, I want to talk about the guest list. Sam, tell us a bit about how you decided on your number of guests and like why.
Well, like the venue that we booked, in like the reception room, like comfortably, it accommodates around like 86 people. So we went based on that, basically. Obviously, we can add people, but I just knew like for a while, I really wanted a small wedding. Like I'm not into the big like thing. Nor does like my fiance have like a big family here. We don't have like a huge family as well. So I just knew I wanted like a smaller list. Also, thank God you got engaged first because I took your list.
Yeah.
And then
you crossed out whoever you want.
I was like, no. And also it helps a little bit like selfishly for me that like your wedding is like 2 months before because like those people, like the extended family will go to your wedding and like won't need to come to mine. Yeah. Essentially. Yeah. Or like they'll come, like if people are like out of town, then they'll come maybe for the bigger wedding, not the smaller wedding or vice versa. So it's like a little bit easier for me. Yeah. But it is still hard. Like it's still far away. Like we might add people or move people. Like it's hard to know until like you're like 3 months away or 4 months away from your wedding. Like.
Yeah, when the invitations start going out.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I want to know, if you had been with a fiance who had a big family, would you have been open to a bigger wedding at all?
Probably not.
Okay.
It's hard to say because like how close would he be to these people?
Like, let's say he has 15 first cousins. Let's just say.
Well, that's a bit of a different story. Then I
Yeah.
guess like they would be invited, but then our side would be smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Like I still would maintain like the smaller number, maybe
side.
like 120, maybe like max 150.
Right. You
But yeah,
would've-
it's hard.
It's hard to say.
I'm not in that situation like you are.
Yeah.
So
I was open. I was okay with either. Like I was leaning more towards smaller at first. Obviously, we can't get away with smaller, but like when you sit with yourself to think like I was like just like sitting with myself, asking myself like, what is it really about the small wedding that I liked? It was the fact that I want to turn around and know everyone at my wedding. So if that means 200 people, but I know them all, that's okay with me. That's like how I'm choosing to approach the bigger wedding. Although we have a bigger wedding, a bigger guest list, I still am really like stuck on making sure that 90% of the guest lists, I know them well. I either grew up with them on my side or like I've met them on Antoine's side and like we've hung out before. So it doesn't become as unpersonal. But because I asked myself that question, I was curious to ask you that question, like how you would feel. Going with the topic of, okay, we're inviting more people from our side at my wedding. So you're inviting less of those people at your wedding. I want to know, what do you think it is about that expectation that there is that makes it kind of okay to invite for the first wedding, but not as much for the second?
I don't really agree with that. I think you should invite the people that you want at the wedding. And it's not because it's the first child that's getting married, so you have to have everybody and their mother, so to speak, at their wedding. And you don't have to do that for the other children. Example, when I got married, my parents invited more friends of theirs than my own friends.
Yeah.
So, which is fine. I knew 95% of them.
At least you knew them.
I knew almost everybody except two couples. I was like, I asked my mom, I says, who are these two? I've never seen them ever in my life. And she says, oh, it's the sister of, and okay, whatever. But everybody else we knew, and we had a big wedding. But
how many people did you have?
245 about.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a big
Similar
wedding.
to
Yeah.
yours.
But my father has a lot of cousins.
yeah, that's
My
First
grandmother,
cousin?
first cousin.
That's the thing.
So we invited a lot of my dad's cousins and their spouses and some of their children that were approximately my age.
Okay.
So I had a handful of cousins, second cousins that were there too. And we've still kept in touch over the years. We're still, we hang out on occasion. But I don't agree. So my parents' philosophy was, being from the culture that we are, well, so-and-so invited us to their child's wedding, so we have to reciprocate. I don't agree with that. I really don't. Because if you're being invited to your friend's daughter's wedding, for example, you're going to give a gift, right? So everybody's winning. You get to go to a wedding. They get to get a gift. Why do you have to reciprocate?
I agree with that.
I don't agree with that.
That's the thing.
It's a cultural thing. I understand.
Maybe it's a cultural
thing. It is, totally. Because I was thinking about this yesterday. I think it comes from the basis that cultures used to be part of villages. And villages were really small and everybody knew each other. So it would make sense to invite the whole village to your child's wedding. But we don't live in that world anymore.
Right.
It's still happening in certain parts of the world, but here in North America, we live in cities, in big cities. So we don't know everybody and their mothers, so to speak. So I don't think it should translate the same way, but that's my opinion.
I mean, I agree with you, but I grew up with this opinion too, because, it's kind of how we are. We don't expect that. We don't have that expectation. And I think bride and couples, newlyweds, I don't know if you and Luca, you guys are more lax, so you don't seem to take on that expectation as much, but we do take that expectation on a little bit, and we almost feel like, how are they going to feel as a newlywed couple? How are the people that we don't want to invite, how are they going to feel versus how do we feel? It's it becomes a whole game of how does everybody feel? And because of that expectation, now the newlyweds are kind of put in a situation that they don't necessarily want to be. I mean, we've been invited to weddings that I thought we had, to be honest, no business being invited to. It was a lovely wedding. We had a great time. Obviously, we gave a gift, but now we're sitting there wondering, is that expectation put on us to have them at our wedding too? So it can create a lot of tension between couples and then between the couple's parents. Like it's becomes a lot. I think we're slowly starting to break down that philosophy, but it's hard.
See, I think at this point it becomes the parents' wedding and not the kids anymore.
But even us as the kids, if you will, we've been invited to other kids' weddings out of respect for whoever in the family. And like now we're like, oh, do we have to put them on our guest list or not? Like, do we even hang out with them? Like, do we want them there? You know, your wedding should be at the end of the day about the feeling the love in the room with the people who are there. And even though there are people that are not as close to you, they'll still, you know, give you that love there too, but it's not as personal because they don't know you as much. Right. Even just hearing our friends talk about, maybe you feel, I don't know if you've felt this, but some of my friends, like I was talking to my friends yesterday about all the bridal events, because there's a lot of them. And I was like, ladies, like the minimum I would, because I'm not having a bridal party. So I was like, the minimum I would love for you to be at is like the wedding day, like all day, and then a few other things. And the girls are like, yes, like absolutely. Like that's the minimum. You know, we're there from the first minute of the day to the last, till the DJ closes. And that's what I want to feel on my wedding day. Like I want the people who are invited to feel like they also want to do that, you know? And when you start inviting people that you don't know as much, now all of a sudden your wedding becomes so much less impersonal and you don't feel that love as much in the room. Have you experienced that a little bit at all with your friends? But you're having it small, so it's by default going to be that.
Like, not really. We haven't really spoken about those things like yet. And I just, maybe like I just expect them to, like I also think of them like I know they're going to have a lot of fun. And like, it's going to be like, how do I say this? Like, it's a small wedding, so I don't want
It'll
that.
already feel that way.
Like, from the beginning, I didn't want like my mom's second cousin's kids to come. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know you, which is like, it's hard because you're always going to upset somebody. It's always somebody that's going to be offended. So
low key though, some people don't get offended. Like they don't want to invite.
You know,
now they feel like they have to go.
Yes, that's another problem. It's like, it's very tricky. A wedding is very tricky. You're always going to step on someone's toes.
Always.
You're always going to piss somebody off. But like at the end of the day, like it's about your wedding. And like sometimes you just have to be selfish, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
But I can see how it's harder for you to be.
You know me and my emotions.
Yes. Yeah. Like I'm more, I guess, like, oh, I don't care. Like it's fine. Like
you are so I don't care. And I'm so I care.
Because like it's my day and it's also different nowadays. Like it's so much more expensive, like per plate. Like when you start like doing your research and stuff, like life is so expensive that like you can't have 300 people weddings anymore. Like
and all that money goes towards one day and that's
like,
it.
It's a lot.
Yes,
like,
it might have been a great party and what have you, but it's over. It's only one day.
It is only one day. However, it's the first day of your rest of your life with your partner. Mm-hmm. It's a day you're going to think and look back on for decades. You still talk about your wedding with dad.
Exactly. So you want to have a good time.
And then girl math, if you girl math it, somebody said like, put the amount of money you put into your wedding divided by the number of days you're married. You're winning. Like it doesn't end up being.
I never thought of it that way.
Girl math. So anyways, yes, it's very tricky. Yes, it's expensive. And I don't know. Every situation, I'm trying to take every situation and like if the emotions get ruffled, communicate through it. It's the only way through.
Yeah, we have a friend whose child is getting married soon, and they had a wedding in another country with family, so they got invited, but they're not reciprocating, and they don't know how to deal with it. It's very, very difficult.
Well, you see, our parents, your generation, they feel those expectations worse than the kids.
Yes.
And they have to work through those emotions themselves. Like, unfortunately, I can't, if it was you, which I know it's not, but let's say it was you, I couldn't sit there and tell you, like, Mom, just like get over it. You have to go and get over it yourself.
It's like a grieving thing.
A little bit. It is.
Yeah.
And it is what it is, but...
Because we're happy to share the moment that our children get married with our friends.
Yeah.
But we have to remember that it's not our wedding. It's our children's wedding. So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sometimes
it's
your
tricky.
children are open
Yeah.
to that discussion, and sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
And you unfortunately have to respect that.
Yeah, but you also have to take into consideration who's paying. So if mom and dad are paying, for example, they can say, well,
Yes.
we're paying. So if we want to invite extra people, it's our right to do so.
Yes.
You know, so, and not everybody's respectful for that.
Yeah.
That's true. That's very
Yeah.
true. What are unconventional things that you're going to do at your wedding?
Like,
Do you have anything off the top of your head?
not
already
getting married in a church.
That's it.
I don't know if that's as unconventional as you think.
No, okay.
I think it's unconventional for our religion and our culture, but in society in general, I don't think it's as unconventional as you think.
True. What's another thing? Like the garter toss?
Yeah.
Or whatever
Yeah,
it's called.
yeah.
The garter thing. The bouquet toss.
You're not
Probably
going to
not
do
gonna
that?
do that.
Okay.
I don't see
The
a point.
point,
Also,
yeah.
like I want to keep my bouquet. Like,
Yeah. No, but you can throw the bridesmaid's bouquet.
and that's another thing. I don't know if my maid of honor, because I'm also doing only maid of honor. I don't know if she'll have a bouquet or not. We'll see. It's
Me
also
too. I
for
don't know
her.
if my maid of honor is going to have a
Yes.
bouquet or
We'll
not.
see.
My sister's my maid of honor.
Yes.
But oh my God. Have you had any, just to segue here into the florals, have you had any quotes from florists?
No, I haven't even like looked at it, honestly. I'm also like a huge DIYer. I love to like do things myself and to be on a budget. So I'm debating on just doing it myself.
Yeah.
And getting like Costco flowers or something.
Okay, back to your earlier question of concerns for weddings. That's
That's a big concern for me too. I'm very concerned.
Yeah, I'm
It's
worried
a
about
big
that too.
concern
Yes.
because I'm also
definitely.
exploring the DIY florals thing, as you know.
Yeah.
My concern was, just to give you an idea, because I hosted my birthday party with 16 girls in my house a few weeks ago, and I went to the florist and I purchased all the flowers myself to try and make a beautiful flower arrangement for the table and around the house. Okay. It was my first test trial. It took me 3 times the time I thought it was going to take me. I had no vision, no plan. That probably didn't help, to be fair. But I only used bud vases and I was still struggling to make it look somewhat aesthetic. So I threw the aesthetic out the window and went for the eclectic vibe because that's what it ended up being. And that experience alone was enough for me to say, okay, if I'm going to do DIY florals, it's not going to be the reception stuff for me because I don't think I can handle that stress the day before. For one. For two, even if, let's say, you have 10,000 people come help you, and I know you have a smaller wedding, okay, but I'm just talking about mine. Even if I have a bunch of people come help me, what if they don't understand my vision? Like, what if they start doing arrangements and then it doesn't look as nice? Like, that's concerning. So I think there are some things we can DIY with fake florals well in advance. Which
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's
If
what
I
Sam
find,
and I talked about it briefly.
But if you find like a really nice fake flower, like fake flowers.
I think there's a store in Montreal, a craft store. There's one near your house, actually.
Michael's closed.
Did it?
I swear to God, and it's not even written on their Google Maps. I drove there to go get fake flowers to test this out, and it's gone.
Shoot.
Is it the only one, or they're all closed?
I thought it was the only Michael's in Montreal.
No, I think there's one in Vaudreuil.
There's a couple,
there's one in
I'm not
Vaudreuil.
sure if it's still open, honestly.
Oh, okay.
But there's
Goes out again.
there's other places like for our engagement party, I ordered fake flowers from Temu.
Yeah?
Which is like Shein as well. So we'll see.
Okay, we'll
They're
see
coming
them.
in. So there's also places like that you could maybe try. Even Amazon, you can test it out.
See, the good thing about going physically to the store is that you could actually see what the flowers
that's
look like.
true.
And some of them look artificial and some of them really look real. But when you're ordering online, it's a bit of a risk
Yeah,
because
you're
what if it doesn't turn out, it's
true.
really nice on the website and then you receive it and oh my God.
That's why it's
day
good
night.
to go with a website that you can like send it back for free. And then like you try in advance to find something that you like.
Yeah.
Also depends on what kind of flowers you want.
Yeah.
What kind of decor. Like I'm probably going to go for like maybe like white flowers and candles. Like I might do a lot of candles. So that's another thing. Like I might not need a florist, but we'll see.
See, the candles might create a lot of heat.
That's
what
it.
Dad
Exactly.
was saying about
Yeah, but
one of the
a few
podcasts.
candles is okay.
Yeah, a few candles
It's
is
if
fine.
you want to do
Yeah.
a candlelit theme where
Yeah,
it's
it's
literally
different.
just candles, then it gets hot. But a few candles is fine.
I'd be concerned about fire hazard too.
Well, the one that I want that I'm looking like at it's like bigger vases with like water inside, and you put a little floating candle.
Okay, so if the candle tips over, then
it's fine. And like you still have like a lot of space.
Right,
You can't like burn yourself or anything. Yeah.
Some venues also have a list of approved types of candles that they allow.
Okay.
Yeah, like my venue offered me some candles as well. I think they're real candles, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know what you're going for what like table. Yeah, it's still far away.
Yeah.
Pinterest.
Shout out to Pinterest.
Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it, yes. I'm getting quotes from florists that are a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, TBD on that. I want to know, Sam, do you want to do a first look?
No, I don't want to.
You don't want to?
Yeah, I want to keep it like mysterious, magical. I want him to see me when I open the doors, walk onto the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah.
What about a first touch so you don't...
No, I think that's silly.
You
What are you touching? Their finger?
She said silly, but she thinks it's stupid.
What does that even mean?
She's very quick to dismiss things.
Yes.
And then she starts thinking about it and changes her mind.
Yes, I'm very like that. So we'll see. If I see like a video or whatever, like I don't know what that means.
It's
touch.
sweet.
What are you touching? In their face?
Hands.
What are you?
I'm
you're
just
not
picturing
seeing
like,
each other?
not
Like-
me putting out my hand out right now,
But what is that gonna do? What
it's
if
just like a little like... I don't know.
like what if like how do you even know that's your fiance?
Oh, come on. You can hear him.
Yeah, exactly.
He can speak.
You can speak to each other.
Okay, so it's first touch, first speak, kind of.
Yeah.
First word.
I would like to do that, but our day is so jam-packed already with the things that we want to do. So I don't know if we'll have time.
Mm-hmm.
If we have time, I would like to do that, but we might scrap it. We'll see.
Yeah,
but I agree with the first look thing.
I think your situation would be a little bit tricky to do that.
Yeah.
Because
it'd have to be at the church.
Whereas they're having their ceremony at the venue.
Place,
so there's a better and easier way to set it up.
True, but she doesn't want to do it.
If she chooses to do it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. What do you think of veils? Traditional or modern?
I think it depends on the style of the dress.
Mm-hmm.
I'm traditional to a certain degree, but I'm also a more modern person because I have girls.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always wanted you girls to be independent and have, strong characters and stuff. So I think the veil represents a very traditional and old-fashioned view. Because back in the day, there was arranged marriages, and I think that's why they had the veils in the first place, so that the groom didn't see what the bride looked like until she walked down the aisle. So he didn't have a choice at that point. He couldn't back out. Again, I think it's the style of the dress. It really belongs to that. It's a personal thing. I think it could look really nice, but
depends on
it depends.
the dress.
It really depends. Yeah.
I agree.
Do you want a veil?
I think so.
Yeah.
Not sure what kind. It depends on what dress that I find. But I think it's cute.
Yeah.
I think it is like a traditional thing, which is like nice to bring back.
Yeah.
And it just shows your bride like a little bit more.
It's very bright. It is very bright.
But then you take it off when you're partying.
Even for the pictures, you can take it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
Mm-hmm.
How are we, all three, one at a time, how are we supporting each other without stepping on toes?
I go first?
Go first.
Okay. So again, when the two of you decided to get married in 2 months span, I said, okay, girls, when we're going to go to the appointments, the two of you are not going to both try on dresses. It's either Adriana's appointment or it's Sam's appointment. But anyways, we kind of broke that rule the first time we went shopping because you had found a sale and the three of us went and you both tried on dresses. But I told Sam, let your sister walk out first because it is her wedding that's coming up first. And she respected that.
It's hard. It was hard for me, as you know, that like you decided to get married a couple months after me. But
I was getting a little bit frazzled.
Well, before I was just like doing my thing without like thinking, oh, maybe like I'll step on her toes.
I'm here for my grandparents, my in-laws, you guys even. That's just what we do, right? There's like certain traditions, but that's what we do.
How do our grandparents feel about us getting married so close?
Because at their time when they got married, weddings were not this big thing. I want to know about the fiancés and dad. How is Luca involved in the planning?
She's the
Plural?
mother of the brides, but she's the therapist.
Most likely to show up late to their own wedding.